This video is going to be a slow, beautiful, calm process of just drawing, but I will be explaining some of the things that I've learned throughout the years by filling up sketchbook after sketchbook. And it's such a worthy thing to know. It's going to change the whole game for you. You can watch me sketch in this unfiltered way, in this unedited way, because I wanted to show you how I can be so bad and mess up all the pages and also be interested in continuing that sketchbook. So that fear that we have first off when we want to start a sketchbook is going to ruin our art journey. What is that fear, right? When we start a sketchbook, we want to get everything right. We want to make every page look very pretty. We want to be able to show that to other people. But I would say that sketchbook is not a public place. It's a place that you explore your ideas and kind of imitate what other artists have to say also to get better at your own style and become better at sketching overall. So it's a place for your practicing, not for you showing off your drawing skills. It's a place for you to be creative and not care about any ideals or any expectation that your audience might have from you. You just want to experience everything that you want to experience. So for example, if you want to get better at something that you're really bad at, you have to pick up a sketchbook and be very bad at it for such a long period of time. And then after, filling up 10 or 12 or even 100 pages of drawing that specific thing that you want to get better at, it's going to actually transform itself into a very beautiful object that you might be your drawing is going to look very pretty after all of those pages that look so trashy. So the first step is to never be afraid of starting your sketchbook in the most horrific ways. And by that, I mean that you don't have to be always afraid, and you don't want to set that goal of getting the best sketch out of that page. You want to just try everything, right? You want to try everything that comes into your mind. For example, I'm trying here to come up with ideas for robotic sort of shapes and robotic characters. I wanted to come up with a character and develop some characters of my own, but I also looked at so many other artists and what they did with their character developing system. And what they do is actually practicing a lot. So it's not something that we don't know about, right? It's not such a secret. It's very obvious that you need to practice. And after practicing for a long time, you're going to get better and better at your sketchbook, and trying to get every page to that expectation, to meet that expectation is never going to happen. So what you need to do is be very messy in the first few pages that you want to start with. So, for example, here I am trying to get a very beautiful idea out of what I'm doing, but I could not actually get a perfect idea. So I started throwing a bunch of characters out in the picture, into the page. And I wanted to just be very raw. Just get all that mind sort of vomit into the page and not care about any error and mistake that might happen. Just to see if it's going to work. So, a mistake should not always be a mistake. It can be looked at from another side. That's the beauty of art. What I mean by that is when you look at styles and cartoonish style, for example, and, styles that are not realistic, right? Not realistic styles. You can see that there are so many mistakes in the composition of it and in every part of that drawing. There's a mistake, but that mistake makes it so much better. It really represents the artist's style, right? It's not a mistake. It's not going to be considered a mistake. It's just the whole painting is like that. Because they have tried so many ways, those artists would be trying so many ways. And after, coming up with one or two ideas, they kind of know their system now. They kind of know how to come up with ideas. So they have tried a lot of ways. And there might have been so many bad ways that they have gone. Their drawing would have been so worse with them. But ideas are not always perfect. They're going to be tested. And the only place that is going to be tested in is Sketchbook. But there's also another concept. So you can have two sketchbooks at the same time. If you don't want to have that fear of, having that fear of trying to get every page into a perfect page and be very good at filling up the whole sketchbook. And you could so that you can show it to other people when you're finished with that sketchbook, just so that it's like a album, like a very perfect place for other people to watch and just marvel at your masterpiece. You can do this trick by having two sketchbooks at the same time. While you're working on your perfect sketchbook, you have to have a sketchbook that is your brain vomit, and it's not a very perfect place. It's just a private place. Nobody's going to see it. It's only for you. What you're going to do is every time that you want to you want to pick that sketchbook that I just mentioned that is going to be like a masterpiece every page, you have to pick up that trashy sketchbook as well and try to test those ideas that you want to implement in the perfectionistic sketchbook. Let's just call it that for the sake of this talk. And when you actually test them out, and it can work as like a trial and error sort of sketchbook and also like a warm-up sketchbook, right? There's two purposes to this. You can do this warm-up before doing that beautiful sketchbook that you want to accomplish, or you could just try a lot of ideas and come up with the best idea and kind of pick that idea that clicks with you and implement it in the sketchbook that you want to perfect, you want to be perfect at that sketchbook. So that is something that is going to help you not be afraid of, completing that sketchbook that feels so daunting, right? When you buy a sketchbook that is empty, looking at those empty pages is the most daunting thing. You cannot even start to draw some lines. It's just impossible. It seems like it's going to take an infinite amount of time to be so confident about drawing in those empty pages. So the first thing that you should have done upon, you had some experiences, I guess, that you are listening to this, you might have some experiences in drawing and filling up sketchbooks. You might have, just try to be so, going with that flow, going with that temptation of becoming perfectionistic, and it might take a lot of time. So that is the bad side of the perfectionistic mindset. Apart from all the mindset, there is going to be a hurdle in your way of trying to come up with sketchbook ideas. Another thing that you need to get rid of is the fact that you want to actually show it to other people. Sketchbook should not be shown to other people. It's your place. It's not something that you should, give it to other people and make them very interested in your drawings. It's not. If you want to be a sketchbook artist, then that is your job. Maybe then it's going to be the thing that you do. You just show your sketchbook to people and you just take photos of it and post it on Instagram and all over the social media. But when you want to work on a very bigger piece and you don't really limit yourself to a sketchbook, then it becomes a place that you hold it close to your heart. And it's like, it's not a place that you could show it to other people. It's just your place. It's the only place that you could test out your ideas. And I think that's so important for you to implement in your art journey, to have that beautiful sketchbook in which you're gonna just like draw anything in it. And it also shouldn't be always about drawing, right? You don't have to always be just drawing inside of that sketchbook. You can come up with, texts that you want to, writings that can help you further that idea that comes to you, right? You can write that idea down if you can't just sketch it on the first glance. But you must like force yourself to sketch it, because then you become better at sketching your ideas. But if you cannot do that, you can write it down as well. It's a place for you to just wander around, and it does not need to be that big of a pressure. It should be very, such an easy process for you. Not going to take you a lot of time. It should not be time consuming. It should be just like whatever it is. It's just a place for you to explore and be very messy and, not care about any sort of rules that might exist in the arts world. That's exactly the motivation that you can arrive, what am I saying? I'm just saying that it's exactly the kind of motivation that you need if you become this person who's like always just exploring and coming up with ideas and trying to, trying to capture every moment that you go about, right? If you're like traveling, you can take the sketchbook with yourself and just sketch things that are so simple, just like the birds or the whole, city views, anything that might be interesting to you. You want to sketch it, you can sketch in that sketchbook, and it can be a place for you to even like a diary place, right? To just document every feeling, every that bit of imagination that might help you when you're not in that place, right? And it's a place for you to be yourself. It's a place for you to be really creative and not care about the rules. So why would you want to even have a sketchbook in the first place? Well, that's a very good question, and I want to answer that in a very careful way. Why you want to have a sketchbook when you can have a random paper, just drawing on it whenever you want, right? There's buying a stack of paper, but not buying a sketchbook. A sketchbook would be better because it's a very compact thing. It's like bind together. You can watch your progress. You can, see that timeline in order. Because if you're like drawing on a stack of paper, then after a while you're gonna forget about them, and when you want to come back to it and see the progress that you make along the way, it's going to be so hard for you to guess which was like older and which is like newer. So that binding is going to help you with the perception of time and where those when those sketches have been made. It's important for you to know that, because like when I personally look back on my sketchbook and I see that my oldest sketchbook looks like the trashiest thing that you could possibly imagine. Like it looks like not even 12 years old doing it, like not even 2 years old, not even like 6-year-old person doing it. It's very, very, very bad. It's like I was actually 12, but like I did not even care. I did not even care about any, I didn't care about showing it to my family or anybody. It would look so terrible because I was like, I wasn't sketching from reference, I was sketching it from my memory. And whenever I want, whenever I want to sketch from my memory, it messes everything up. I cannot do that. That's so hard for me. But at that age, when I was like 12, I could be very good at sketching from references, and you couldn't really tell the difference between reference and the drawing itself. I mean, I was that good. I'm no longer interested in drawing from references, and as you can see, I'm just drawing from my own mind. I don't even care about any references. I just want to come up with my own ideas, with my own characters, and I want to come up with something that is going to bind them together in some sort of style that is my own style, and just be able to show my thoughts and emotions and feeling to other people, and kind of like transfer that positivity, that beautiful creativity that I kind of feel inside. That is what I want. And I don't want to be drawing from reference, and I don't want to be a realistic drawer and sketcher, right? That's why I picked up the sketchbook, because I was so bad at, like drawing from my memory, drawing from my own imagination, drawing from, experiences that I had, right? Things that I felt and nobody else felt it. And it's not really in the real world. It's just like something that it lives in your imagination. You want that to be coming to life. What you do is picking a sketchbook and trying to, test out all of those ideas and come up with your style. When you're drawing from reference, you're not going to be able to come up with your own style. It's going to be very, very hard for you to even, draw from your memory or your imagination, because then you would have no idea what those objects are going to look like or what those characters are going to look like. When you're drawing with your own imagination, it's so much easier for you to draw from your memory as well, because like your imagination is separate from your memory, but it's going to affect it. Your imagination can be you just like trying to come up with a very new character. You can draw a half human, half wolf, or half human, half robot sort of thing, and you could be very good at it. But when you're drawing with your memory, you have to be able to recall all of those tiny details of that object or the thing that you're drawing. It's so hard. It's like harder than drawing from imagination. But once you draw from imagination, it's going to be very easier for you to draw from your memory as well. It's not going to take as much time as it did before. You are now better at drawing from your imagination, and therefore better at drawing from your memory. That is where Sketchbook is so handy, and you can do a lot of sketches from your memory and just mess up every single day and not care about the outcome of that. That is where your style is going to be perfected. Your style is always going to change. As an artist, I could say that my taste, my style is always changing every single day. I just like do this, and the other day it's like completely different. I'm not interested in the same thing that I was interested in 10 years ago, right? It's like it's always going to shift. It's never going to stay. You're never going to be interested in something that you were interested in when you were in high school. You're not going to be that static. People and like human beings are not that static. We have to always change and adapt and also come up with new ideas. That's the way that we live. That's life, right? If we don't come up with new ideas, then we're actually dead, right? And so as an artist, you have to be always shifting and adapting your style and becoming better and better at drawing each and every day. How you could do that is by picking up a sketchbook and trying to imitate other artists that you like the style of, and just do whatever they are doing, or do something that you like about their art. So for example, I like something about the art from an artist, but I just don't like the whole artistic style. I just like that tweak and twist that she uses in some of the features of the art itself. So I pick that and try to implement it in my own style. Make a change in my own style based on that beautiful part that I've seen, right? And that's when you actually use your sketchbook and try to do as many mistakes as you possibly can, like mistake better and better, right? And like fail and fail better, right? So you have to fail a lot in order to win, in order to get that style that you actually need. So my advice would be, if you're like a new artist and you want to be able to come up with your style and come up with the sketchbook ideas that you want to do every single day, you might want to implement all of these things. You can pick a lot of, like artists that you like and try to implement or imitate. In the first stages, you have to imitate their art in order to get what they are actually using in their art to make it look the way that it looks, so that it's appealing to your eyes. Once you get the hang of that, you're going to be very, very satisfied with the style of your own, and it's going to be you just like trying to perfect your own style each and every day. And I'm so grateful for you that you just listened to me, and I am so grateful for that, because I wanted to tell some people, at least, give this message to some people, that they need to pick up a sketchbook and they need to get to work not worrying about the outcome. Thanks for watching. I hope that I can see you in the next video.